Chapter 1. The Ring and the Ruin. Back when I was 20, all I had were my calloused hands, a concrete-stained shirt, and a dream wrapped inside a velvet ring box. I was about to propose to Jessica, my girlfriend of 4 years and the love of my life. She was beauty and ambition rolled into one, blue eyes that melted walls, a business student with a plan, while I broke my back at a construction site to build mine. My brother Derek and I shared everything, our apartment, our childhood, and, I thought, our loyalty. He was the smooth-talking MBA student, the one women chased. Me. I was the worker, the quiet one. But Jessica chose me, or so I believed. That Friday I left work early, roses in hand, paycheck in pocket, $200 saved for a ring that screamed commitment. I wanted to surprise her. Instead I got slaughtered by the truth. I walked into her apartment. Music played softly from her bedroom. Her door was cracked. And there they were. Jessica. Naked. My brother Derek. On top of her. Making sounds I'll never unhear. The roses slipped from my hands and hit the floor with a dull thud. Petals scattered like the pieces of my future. Jessica screamed, grabbing a sheet. Derek just stood there, still half naked, eyes wide. "Marcus, it's not what it looks like," she gasped. But I wasn't stupid. Not anymore. "How long?" I asked, my voice already dead. They looked at each other. That single glance told me everything. 6 months, Derek finally said. 6 months. While I was saving for a ring. While I was planning our future. While I was telling him how much I loved her. I don't remember much after that. Just the sound of my voice breaking as I yelled, the crash of a lamp against the wall, the way Jessica flinched when I told her I wished I'd never known her. I left shaking, choking on betrayal and rage, and drove with no destination, just pain and gasoline. Somewhere on the highway, as headlights blurred through my tears, something cold and sharp settled inside me. I didn't know what it was at the time, but later I'd recognize it as resolve. Because right then, in that moment, I wasn't thinking about love anymore. I was thinking about revenge. Burn the bridge, build the empire. I moved out the next day. No goodbye, no note, just grabbed my tools, my clothes, and whatever dignity I had left. I found a one-bedroom apartment across town, barely big enough for my toolbox, let alone my broken pride. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. Their bodies. Their lies. Their betrayal. My parents tried to fix it, like betrayal could be patched up with some family dinner and a bottle of wine. "Brothers fight," my mom said softly. "Time heals everything," my dad muttered. But when Derek and Jessica got engaged 3 months later, and my family showed up like nothing happened, something inside me snapped. They posed in pictures. Smiled under white lights. Toasted with champagne. My mom even sent me photos in the mail like I should be happy for them. That was the moment I knew I was on my own. So I made a promise. If I had nothing else left, I would have success. I'd build something they could never touch. I picked up every job I could get my hands on. Roofing in the summer sun. Electrical work with frozen fingers in December. Plumbing in houses I couldn't dream of affording. Every dollar I earned was fuel. Every blister a reminder. I wasn't going to get even. I was going to get ahead. I started my first contracting business when I was 25. My second at 29. By 35, I was running 3 companies, owning real estate, driving what I wanted, living where I wanted. And no one, not Derek, not Jessica, not even my family, knew just how far I had come. Then I met Amanda. A nurse. Smart. Kind. Nothing like Jessica. We got married. Had a daughter, Emma. My entire world. Even after Amanda and I separated when Emma was 12, we stayed on good terms. Civil, mature. Because we both knew Emma deserved better than the chaos we came from. I poured everything into raising her. She never knew struggle. Private school. A car for her sweet 16. European vacations. I gave her the life I never had, and shielded her from the poison I'd swallowed all those years ago. And for a long time that was enough. My success. My daughter. My peace. Until one Sunday morning, over brunch at the country club, Emma looked at me with those innocent eyes and said the words I never expected to hear. "Dad, I want Uncle Derek and Aunt Jessica at my wedding." Chapter 3. The knock at the door. I thought I'd misheard her. "You want what?" Emma stirred her coffee, avoiding my eyes. "I want them at my wedding, Dad. Uncle Derek. Aunt Jessica. They're still family." I laughed, but it came out bitter and hollow. "Family?" I repeated. "Those two haven't been family since they blew my world to pieces." She looked up at me confused. "You've never told me what actually happened." "Mom wouldn't either. All I know is you don't talk to them. But maybe it's time to move on." Move on. like it was some traffic ticket. Not betrayal. Not the knife they buried between my ribs and twisted for good measure. If you invite them, I said slowly, I won't be there. She froze. What? I'll pay for your wedding. I'll pay for your honeymoon. But if they walk into that church, I walk out. She pushed her chair back hard enough to scrape the floor. Fine. Then I don't need your money or your blessing. She left me sitting there, alone with my coffee and a decision I hated but knew I had to make. 2 weeks passed. Silence. Until one afternoon I pulled into my driveway after a long day at a site and saw 2 unfamiliar cars parked outside. The air shifted. I walked into my house. And there they were. Derek, Jessica, and Emma. Sitting on my couch like it was Sunday dinner. My brother looked like life had chewed him up. He'd lost hair, gained weight, and wore a suit that didn't quite fit anymore. Jessica, on the other hand, looked exactly how I remembered, only now with obvious cosmetic tweaks and an expression that reeked of calculation. What the hell is this? I asked. Dad, please, Emma said. Just listen. Derek stood up, hands trembling. Marcus, I know we haven't talked in a long time, but No. We're not doing this. Jessica's voice dripped with sugar. Can't we just start fresh? We're family. Let the past go. But I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't here to make peace. She was here to take inventory. And when she started talking about money, about debts, braces for the kids, rough patches, I realized the real reason they were back in my living room after 28 years. They weren't looking for forgiveness. They were hunting for opportunity. Chapter 4, The Setup. They didn't even try to hide it. Jessica leaned forward, that fake sweetness dripping from her voice. Family helps family, right? Especially when one of us is doing so well. Derek shifted uncomfortably, like he still had some shame left. Jessica, though? She had none. She eyed the furniture, the paintings, the skyline view behind the glass like she was walking through a catalog she planned to order from. We're in a tight spot, she said. Just until Derek finds something more stable. How much? I asked, my voice cold. She didn't blink. 55. Dinner served cold. Saturday came like a storm I had scheduled. The house was spotless. Prime rib, lobster tail, candlelight, the kind of dinner that said, I forgive you, even if I didn't. But what they couldn't see were the new security cameras tucked into every corner. High definition. Crystal clear audio. The entire house was ready to record the truth, for anyone who needed proof. They arrived on time. Derek in that same ill-fitting suit. Jessica in a dress so tight it screamed desperation, not fashion. Marcus, she purred, giving me a hug that lingered too long. This place is incredible. Derek looked around like a man walking through a dream he used to have. Dinner was pleasant. Forced laughter. Polite small talk. I let them get comfortable, let the wine flow. Jessica finally leaned forward, all fake sympathy and glossy lips. So, Emma told us you're worth a few million now. I shrugged. I've done all right. She smiled like a wolf wearing lipstick. We could really use a little help, Marcus. Just until things settle down. 50,000, right? Derek nodded. Please, man. We're drowning. I sipped my wine and looked at them calmly. You want $50,000. From the man you betrayed. Never apologized to. Haven't seen in 28 years. Jessica's smile twitched. We're here, aren't we? That says something. It does, I said. It says you think I'm stupid. Jessica's eyes narrowed. You think you're better than us? Just because you've got money now? No, I said, rising from my chair. Because I have integrity. Something you wouldn't recognize if it slapped you in the face. I walked to the living room, picked up the envelope from the table and came back. What's that? Derek asked. I opened it slowly. This is everything. The truth. Your truth. Photos. Receipts. A full report from the PI I'd hired. Jessica's affair with her trainer. Derek's firing for harassment. The debt. The IRS. The foreclosure. Jessica's mouth dropped open. Derek's face went pale. You set us up, Jessica hissed. No, I said, sliding a photo across the table. You set yourselves up. I just recorded it. Derek picked up a photo. Jessica. Hotel room. Check. Very athletic position. Jessica, he whispered. But she was already on her feet, voice rising. Understand this? You ruined everything. I stayed calm. Silent. Watching her unravel. You think you're so perfect? She screamed. Emma told me what she really thinks of you. That you're cold and controlling. I smiled. She told you that before she found out the truth. Before she sent this. I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Emma's voice clear as day. Dad, I'm sorry. I was wrong about them. About everything. Jessica stood frozen. Well, silent. And as she turned toward the door, I realized this wasn't the end of their story, it was only the beginning of their downfall. Chapter 6, The Fallout. They left that night like a hurricane in reverse, chaotic, broken, and leaving wreckage behind. Jessica screamed curses all the way to the driveway, threatening everything from lawsuits to public shaming. Derek didn't say a word. He just stared at the photo in his hands like it had drained whatever was left of him. The next week, news moved fast. Derek filed for divorce. With the private investigator's report in hand, his lawyers shredded Jessica's position in court. Adultery. Financial irresponsibility. The works. He won custody. She got nothing. Jessica tried to fight. Claimed emotional distress. Claimed she'd been manipulated. Claimed she was still entitled to something. The judge disagreed. She moved back in with her parents at 46 years old. The house was foreclosed. The cars repossessed. The IRS? They were the only ones left still interested in her. When Chad? Her charming muscle-bound side piece? He dumped her the moment the court case went public. Turns out, he wasn't interested in dating a broke single mother with a bad credit score. Emma's wedding was beautiful. Intimate. Joyful. Free of poison. When she thanked me in her speech, she looked me in the eyes and said, "Thank you for protecting me, even from people I thought were safe." It hit me harder than I expected. For a while I thought that was it. Justice delivered. Wounds cauterized. But life had other plans. One Tuesday morning my secretary buzzed in while I was reviewing site contracts. "Mr. Marcus, there's a Derek Thompson here. Says he's your brother." I hadn't heard that name in my office since I founded the company. My hands froze on the keyboard. "Send him in," I said. He walked in slowly like a man with the weight of the world on his back. His clothes were rumpled, cheap. His eyes sunken. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Marcus," he said quietly, I'm sorry for just showing up like this." I leaned back in my chair. "What do you want, Derek?" He sat down across from me and covered his face with his hands. "I'm desperate. Not for me. For my kids. Redemption or nothing." Derek looked like a ghost of the man I used to know. He told me everything. Tyler and Madison, 16 and 14, were living with him in a one-bedroom apartment above a pizza shop. Tyler was supposed to start senior year, but they couldn't afford supplies. Madison needed a dress for homecoming, and Derek couldn't even buy her a $5 sandwich. "Jessica's gone," he said. "She moved to Florida with some guy. Doesn't call. Doesn't pay. Nothing." I listened. Not because I owed him anything, but because those kids had nothing to do with the past. And because some part of me, after all these years, still knew what it was like to feel small. "What exactly are you asking for?" I said. "Just enough to keep them fed. Get us through school. I'll work for you. Clean floors. Anything. I'll pay you back every cent." He looked me dead in the eye. "I know I don't deserve your help. But they don't deserve to suffer because of what I did." I told him I'd think about it. 3 days later, Jessica showed up. No warning. No shame. Just more lipstick over the same old lies. She looked rough. Bleach-damaged hair, jeans from a bargain bin, face bloated with regret. But her tone hadn't changed. "I heard Derek came to you," she said, sitting across from my desk without asking. "And I want the kids to live with me in Florida." I raised an eyebrow. "You abandoned them." "I just needed time," she said, voice tight. "I can be a good mother again with your help. Maybe $5,000 a month." I nearly laughed. Not only was she back to asking for money, she wanted to take the kids as part of the deal. But I had already spoken to Tyler and Madison. I knew what they thought. Tyler had said, "Uncle Marcus, I never want to see that woman again." Madison. She just said, "She's not my mom anymore." I told Jessica the truth. "Your kids hate you. And I don't blame them." She broke. Cried. Begged. Said she was sorry. Said she'd do anything. So I gave her a choice. Sign away your parental rights. Right now. Walk away forever. I'll write you a check for $10,000. That's more than you deserve. She hesitated. Then signed. She was out of their lives. For good. A week later, I called Derek into my office. He looked like a man bracing for another kick to the teeth. "I'm not giving you $2,000 a month," I said. He nodded slowly.